All right, guys. So I told you I'd tell you about I said we'd talk about some of the things the local coward troll had said, and one of them was weeds. And the other was that you can't science your way to crop nutrition because that will starve the world. His words, not mine. So the first one of weeds, let me spin you around. And if we look way up there, that is a 15-acre soybean field. So I had non-GMO soybeans this year, and I bought the pre-emerge chemical program and an in-season program, and the fields were pretty okay. This 15 acres is the only one that has a mare's tail problem. And I don't know why. I talked to the chemical guys about it. The old-fashioned burners on the beans, so you almost kill the soybeans. And as the soybeans are coming back, it wasn't much later. The soybeans weren't even fully back, and that mare's tail came through that herbicide program like nobody's business. And you're just like, oh my gosh, like what the heck is happening and what do I do? And everybody's like, there's nothing you can do. The beans aren't even fully recovered. You can't go out with another burner because you'll get 0 soybeans this year. You're pretty much done. It is what it is. And you're just like, well, son of a buck. So the other fields were pretty clean. Except it's the end of season. We're having just this wonderful fall, and you can see the herbicides running out of gas, and now the water hemp and some other weeds are starting to come through on the non-GMO beans. He had said, I have the worst looking fields in the Tri-County area. Well, that's just an idiot statement. It's just a crabby old man that for whatever reason hates the world and just has to prove to everybody that he's just an unhappy old man. I feel sad. I feel sad for him. You inherit a bunch of wealth, but it's one of them things that I'd rather have friends and family than a lot of money. I don't know. I wouldn't mind having money, but I'm glad I got friends and family instead. But since this isn't 7th grade drama or girls drama class, I'm not going to drive around the area and be like, look at that field's worse than mine and blah, blah, blah. Like there's some fields that are way worse than mine, and there's a lot of fields that are a lot better than mine. And yeah, so that soybean field, that one was frustrating. I am embarrassed of that field because it's like, come on. And the guy across the road, hopefully someday I could try to rent his farm, and that doesn't exactly say, hey, look at me doing a good job. So that one's a little frustrating, but at least he's old enough to know of what I'm trying to do out here. I'm just trying to learn how to do it the old-fashioned way, because our days of walking down to the co-op and writing a check are numbered. The other weed problem, let me turn you around again. So this is my failed barley field. And yes, this is hairy vetch. It's about waist high. It grows up and then kind of lays over. But it's just this thick, viney mat. And underneath is clover and alfalfa, 0 barley. There's a lot of spots. There is a tremendous amount of spots on this field where there was 0 barley. So from the road, I can see where the crybaby sees the mare's tail problem. I don't know what's with this farm and mare's tail, but it's here this year. From the road, you see the mare's tail. All I see is next year's. I mean, you look at this stuff. You can't even. It moves at 6 feet over there. So we're mowing it down to let it melt into the soil and recycle. How many pounds of P and K and other minerals are in this biomass? Not to mention how many nitrogen credits are out here. Plus, look at that stuff. I can't reach the end of it. Plus, underneath, if I don't stomp it all, I'm stomping it down as fast, but somewhere down here is alfalfa and clover. Well, not in this particular spot. You can see some foxtail, so I'm in a bad spot. There we go. There's some berseem clover sticking out. But just think how much nitrogen is out here. So all this biomass goes into the soil, makes all our fertility should be available, not soluble. Think of how much mineralization is happening. This field had the year off, basically, no chemicals, had the year off to just sit here and grow. And I wonder if I can pull up that the tilthiness now, the top couple inches is just gorgeous. Absolutely stunningly gorgeous. And it has the most, that is the richest, deepest, earthy smell that I've smelt in a long time around here. And I've got all but 160 acres of the farm is to some level of a legume mix going into next spring. So we've got many options, but the big thing is, think of the fertility dollars that are out here. Now, the other ingenious statement that he made is you can't use science to fertilize your crop because that will starve the world. Well, right now I'm going to argue and say corporate greed and bad government policy around the world is what is literally starving the world. You have countries that these green globally, these go green laws are literally starving their countries. These government regulations and mandates that you have to be organic and other stuff is starving countries. The world is not starving because farmers are like, geez, I think I could do a better job with my fertility management program. I'm going to do a better job of feeding the plant what it needs, when it needs, to the best of my ability, and somehow that's going to starve the world. But the proper way to do fertility management, according to Professor of Science here, is on highly erodible soil that we work the crap out of and then seal it with a smooth drum. Is we're supposed to put all of our fertilizer ahead of the planter, water soluble fertilizer ahead of the planter, on ground that is highly erodible and has high runoff rates. So it has very, very poor infiltration rates. And so yes, that's the ingenious thing to do, is watch all your fertility dollars run off the field. That's a great program. But somehow by me wanting to figure out how I can go out and test plant tissue test, plant sap test, do some extra soil testing, that just simply doesn't work here. That just does not work here. That has to take the cake for probably one of the damn dumbest comments I've heard in a long time. And now it's been a while since I've watched some of the YouTube influencer channels, so I'm sure they've topped that statement pretty good for dumb statements, but it's right up there. That one I just couldn't even wrap my head around that kind of level of stupid. But yeah, so hey, on that note, I got to get going, and we got to keep mowing this down and work on next year's fertilizer. Oh, think of the tons of feed here. Think of it. Look at that windrow. I mean, it's not a thick canopy coming up and down. It's just a thick canopy laying on top of the undergrowth. But you've got several bales to the acre here of silage. I mean, it is. I'm just standing in a hole of this is just super cool. I've never had hairy veg take off like this before. So yeah. So on that note, guys, thank you very much for watching.